along with the training, the training there in both online and in person, we are envisioning to build 2 demonstration sites. The first one will be in the city center of Bangalore. It's called Rangoli Gardens, and is very close to the Institute of Rural Energy and Development. And it's a kind of it's an exhibition of a rural community where we are to set up a small solar pumping system of 5 kilowatt solar arrays, and then SQ Flex pump provided to us by Grundfos India. And we are also envisioning to install remote monitoring so that we can monitor the water level in the borehole over the course of a day, how it's recharging at night, and to see the seasonal variations. And the next demonstration site, so that will be in the outskirts of Bangalore, in a rural community, and we've done some site assessments and have pretty much narrowed down the few communities that we visited to this one. And I'm not sure if I pronounce the name correctly, but it says Suranupura, something like that. Maybe someone on the call can correct me how that's pronounced, but that's here we're looking to install a larger demonstration site of 23 kilowatt solar array that will serve around 3,000 people with water provided just by solar. And the aim here is to install a solution that has the capabilities of blending power. So blending power from the grid or from diesel generators. Here there's already a grid installed, so it will be blending with the grid if necessary. And it could be that there are times in the rainy season with dark clouds where there's not enough solar ready, and then the system can automatically blend in grid power for the remaining for the missing part of the power, but it still utilizes all the power provided by the solar panels, even though it might be down to 10, 20, or 30%. Yeah, so that's the 2 demonstration sites that we're looking at. It has a storage capacity of 100,000, which I understand is a pretty standard system in the context of rural habitations. Should I go on? Okay.
Yeah, I suppose I can just speak to these pieces around the impact, and please feel free to add to them. Hopefully people don't hear my background. I think I hear some alarm going off. Some of these turn off. So
we don't hear that.
What we're seeing in terms of impact is that 61. If you look at it, there's 61 million people in Karnataka. 60% of these, or 36.6 million people, live in rural areas, and the potential of the solar, I think, is very large in benefiting these individuals, some of who may have access already through grid. However, what we're seeing with the solar power water systems is that it can make that a lot more reliable. The grid isn't 100% reliable in all of those areas, and there's sometimes downtime, and that can affect in that the water is not running. And when we know that when water runs continuously, it is safer water. not only in terms of better access to that water, but less opportunity to have pathogens introduced into that water system. And so we see opportunity there for reliable access to safe water and also more financially sustainable water schemes. What we had learned from some of the World Bank literature is that there's large defaults in some of the communities on paying electricity bills related to the water system. And by introducing solar, it's a way to largely reduce the costs associated with the electricity that are over time going to become increasingly challenging to maintain. And we also see this as an excellent opportunity for greenhouse gas reduction. And you can see there's a large emission related to the pumping of solar power, or not pumping of solar power, just the pumping of water annually generates a high level of greenhouse gas emissions, and this has an opportunity to reduce those emissions. So I think overall what we can see from the solar power water systems is that it does get us closer towards sustainable and reliable access to water and to that safe water. So I don't know, Benjamin, if you want to go on to the other slides at this point, or if you wanted to. Yes, okay. I'll just let Benjamin go there. I may dash for a moment and see if I can turn off the alarm in my background. I'll be right back.
We can't hear your alarm, Lisa.
Okay. All right.
It's
then
quiet.
you run to the house, yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I would love to just, if you think it's appropriate, Mary, to give an example of what a solar powered water system looks like in a community.
Definitely.
And I don't know who's controlling the slides. If we can move one forward.
I think Lisa has the slides.
Okay. Well, okay. So I want to share an example of a typical community safe water project that I was a part of implementing with Water Mission, our Global Water Center founding partner, which incorporates different technical elements and also globally recognized standards for designing such a system. But most importantly, it includes significant engagement with the community in the rural areas, and that's really essential to ensure financial sustainability and also long-term viability of such a site, because the community, they have to feel that they're owning the system to protect it and to take well care of it, so that the solar panels doesn't get stolen and so on. So I'd like to describe this example of a project here in Sese. It starts with a technical design, and this is a layout of a water system. The diagram that's overlaid with Google Earth, it shows the water supply, the storage, and the distribution system of the piping network. And if you move one or the next slide, then you can see in the top there's the solar array. This is relatively small. It's around 6 kilowatts, and provides water for a population of around 5,500 people. It's intended mainly for drinking water and for cooking purposes. If we go to the next slide, then we see this computer-based hydraulic modeling tool that's developed for both the supply and the distribution system, and it's to ensure that the pressure and the flow meet standards. I'm sure that we've all visited sites in the rural communities where if you turn one tap open, there's no water in the neighboring tap. and that risk can be mitigated by making a proper design basing it on hydraulic modeling. So this particular diagram, it shows an EPA net model for the SESA system. And then moving to the budgets for such a project, it's very important that a detailed budget is worked out every time a system is designed, so that the sizing of the pump and the panels, the solar panels, and the whole design, it meets the water demand, that it's not oversized, but that it's appropriately sized. With this design, it shows that the design population is 5,500 people, and that the total amount for this implementation divided by the population, then it gives you the cost for around $22 per person. And that means that for $22 per person, everyone can receive sustainable access to water, because it's solar powered. So there's no electricity bills coming in, or diesel expenditures to take care of.
And that's a one-time cost or annual?
That's a cost for the capital investment. So of course there will also be operation and maintenance costs and replacement costs, but those costs are minimal. But it's very important to count these costs in, and I'll get to that on the next one here. So what we've usually done is to train a management committee on financial sustainability, so that they understand the importance of tariff collection. that they don't assume that, okay, because now there's solar, water should be free as well. Because we all know that at some point service is needed, or at some point we need to replace the solar panel, or the pump needs to be pulled out and cleaned, or serviced, or replaced. So it's very important to make a calculation of the water price, and with a financial sustainability worksheet, it's possible to capture the O&M costs, and that also the future maintenance costs, that leads to calculating a proper water price that should be agreed on in the community, so that they have understanding why this particular price needs to be collected. And so the capacity building in the communities, it also includes bookkeeping and aspects of financial health of a system. And this is an example. I'm showing you this just to serve as an example, that all the money collected, they're reported. The savings are reported, and here you can see that SESA, they have saved, the SESA community have saved around $6,000 in their small water committee. And at some point you see that there's a pump that breaks down, and the pump needs to be replaced, and the water management committee, they can afford to replace the pump, so it's deducted from their balance, and they have some extension that they're later on, a few months later, they're also paying for from their revenue. So this shows that it's a community that's buying water from the system, and it also reflects a great willingness to pay for water And here, this is a demonstration of a financial sustainable system, because there's income generated, and in this way, planning can happen with a proper price that's been set for water.